Hello, this is Digital Trends Live. I'm Greg Nibbler. Thank you for joining us wherever you are. We appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button because you do not want to miss what we talk about. Also, subscribe to the podcast for Tech Briefs because that's what time it is. It's time for Tech Briefs here at Digital Trends. Okay, so I am Greg Nibbler. I'm going to be joined right now by Mr. Ken Yeung, the technology editor for Flipboard. Ken, hello, sir. How you doing?
Hey, Greg. Nice to see you again.
Good to see you as well. So much to talk about, so much to bring people up to date with. And I think first we have to talk about, towards the beginning of this week, definitely the biggest news that was going on and still continuing on has to be the SpaceX launch, where SpaceX was going to send 2 astronauts to the International Space Station from American soil for the first time in almost 10 years, and also the first commercial organization to do this, which is huge. I got to say myself, I was so excited for that launch on when that was going to be happening. But then, of course, it was scrubbed about 12 minutes before it happened due to weather concerns, which is important. Certainly, the astronauts' safety is a big deal there. But I mean, I got to say, it was really exciting seeing this happen again. And I think that's one of the great things about this is just bringing that excitement back to space travel and exploration.
Right, and this is in the week that's kind of been filled with more news about the pandemic. With 100,000 American people have died from COVID-19, to the sadness of everything else that's going on in the world and in this country. Seeing the on Wednesday with the SpaceX the Demo 2 launch, that was it was invigorating, right? It brought hope to a lot of people, in terms of like, look, we're making advancements in terms of technology and development in terms of in humanity. We were, a lot of people were captivated by watching, whether it's on YouTube or on countless live streams or on TV. This there's this anticipation in terms of like, we're going to go back into space, launching from U.S. soil for the first time in over a decade. And we were all looking forward to it. It was, like you said, it was like up until like about 15 minutes or so, T-minus 15 minutes, and then all of a sudden they had to scrub the launch. And unfortunately, everything seemed to be going okay, based on what mission control and what SpaceX has been talking about. But unfortunately, the weather wasn't cooperating. Now, whether we're looking at Saturday for the round 2, this second attempt. Unfortunately, it's if the weather doesn't cooperate, then they have Sunday. After that, they haven't said what the next attempt would be after that. But I think when you look at what's happening in Florida, there were a lot of notables there. The president, the vice president, secretary of education, Elon Musk was there as well. And it's something that Elon Musk has said during one of the interviews ahead of the anticipated launch, is that, look, he hopes that when kids see these spacesuits that he's spent 3 to 4 years on, he hopes that that kids will want to wear these uniforms and be motivated and have the inspiration to become astronauts themselves. So, he's putting hope back into our next generation to say, look, you are capable of going into space and beyond, because he doesn't see that the International Space Station is just the end goal. He sees going to the moon and ultimately to Mars. And as we know, as we've heard many times, this is not, after the SpaceX, after Demo 2's SpaceX launch, then there's going to be more launches for NASA, and then also for space travel as well, for space tourism. So this is the new chapter of commercial space tourism. And after that, who knows what, literally the sky is no longer the limit, right? Space is space is endless. So who knows what's going to happen? I mean, there's pressure from space now, from SpaceX going into space. Now you have Virgin Galactic, Blue Origin, and many others that are waiting in the wings.
Right, a lot of them there. And I think that point with the spacesuits and just having that design, the whole story behind those two being partially inspired by comic book superheroes, to try to bring that to it. I think it's really, really interesting. We've got a lot of details about that too that people can follow up on, but it's exciting stuff. So hopefully they make it on Saturday, but the astronaut safety is the most important thing with this. So if it doesn't happen then, if it doesn't happen Sunday, it will happen. So we'll get to see it here at some point, but definitely really, really cool things that are happening with that. Continuing on from there, trending news, we have the rollout of yet another streaming service with HBO Max, which is really expanding upon the HBO services they already had, which we all know they're exclusive shows. Now with HBO Max, they bring in thousands of things they're bringing in with that Warner Media power that they've got, and so you're seeing shows like Friends, you're seeing all kinds of different shows that are coming on. I just saw that there was a deal apparently struck for some other things that they're going to be bringing on, but the rollout itself was a little confusing for something as big a powerhouse as HBO is. The who got it was very confusing because they had to strike individual deals to get people who are already subscribed to HBO to have it automatically upgraded. And it depends on which one you had, whether or not you got the upgrade. I did not get the upgrade. I subscribed through Prime, and that didn't come through because I didn't strike a deal with Amazon. But yeah, other people did. And I believe, did you actually get the upgrade to it? Do you have HBO Max right now?
So I actually haven't checked yet. I've been just so busy with work and playing on my PS4 that I haven't actually had a chance to do that. I've kind of been holding out just because in a previous episode of Tech Briefs, we talked about NBC's Peacock, and theoretically that was supposed to arrive on Comcast. So when I tried it, I didn't get it because it was some weird timing issue. So I'm kind of holding out a few days to see what's happening with that, whether I actually get HBO Max or not. But what's you bring up an interesting point, right? I mean, we've harked on this, and we've poked fun at this with HBO Max, and this it's the confusion, right, with Warner Media's branding, right? Whether it's HBO Go, HBO Max, HBO Now, all these different services. Like, which one am I getting? Who's on first, right? But when you see where it's available now, normally it costs $14.99 a month. But then you're right. They have a lot of deals that are available that, typical with all these streaming services.
Right.
But they did strike deals, obviously, with AT&T. I mean, parent company, might as well, right? So you're going to get that get HBO Max for free. If you're on Comcast, again, as you mentioned, they struck a last minute deal, literally last minute deal. So now those that are on Flex, Xfinity Flex or Xfinity X1 will get it for free as well. But I believe you also have to be an HBO subscriber, period. But then those that are on Amazon, as like yourself, Greg, you don't have it. Amazon Prime doesn't have it yet. Neither does customers that are on Roku. So the streaming platforms don't have access to Warner Media's streaming service. Those that are on traditional cable have access to HBO Max. I don't know if there's something to be said about that, but it's an interesting little tie-in there.
Right.
But those that have access to it, I mean, you have a huge library of things, both from original content to a lot of the classics, Friends, and for the first time, all the Studio Ghibli Japanese animations. I mean, come on, Totoro. I mean, yes, if I have it on Comcast, I'm totally binge watching it this weekend, because it's one of my favorites. And then also you have a lot of these exclusives. And eventually, those that, if you hold out hope, by 2021, you will get what everyone really, really wants, the Snyder's Cut edition of Justice League.
Which, right? Because that will be coming out. I just got sent the info on the one that they struck a deal with apparently today was for Young Sheldon. So those Big Bang Theory fans, they paid about $600 million for Big Bang Theory. And now they're apparently acquired Young Sheldon. So they're buying up all these other ones too, just to make sure that they have that on there. But it's an interesting service. I will look forward to seeing it when I finally get it. Just make a deal with Prime. All right, continue on. We've got just a little bit of time left there to talk about something else with PlayStation. We've got some news that came out this week. We did get to see Last of Us Part 2. We got to see some gameplay finally. But PlayStation 5, we've been waiting for more rollouts. Xbox been showing all kinds of different things for the Series X. We know what it looks like. We've got some other gameplay things that they've been doing. They're planning more events. But finally, just today, we did get an announcement that PlayStation is going to be having an event on June 4th. where they're going to show the PlayStation 5, some more gameplay. They also did say that they're going to be asking game developers that when they release PlayStation 4 games starting in July, they need to be compatible for PlayStation 5 as well. So that's kind of a big move. We'll see how that actually happens. I don't know what that takes on the development side, but at least we're getting some news about the PlayStation 5. I'm excited about it.
And I think we've kind of anticipated. I mean, had the pandemic not happened, a week from next week, actually within 2 weeks, would have been the start of E3, right? So this is kind of on point for these companies to make their debut and make their announcements of new consoles and whatnot. Whether or not we're actually going to see the game console, the actual PS5, I don't know. I mean, we've already seen their DualSense controller, but yeah, I mean, we'll start to see some gameplay. Interesting to note that Microsoft did something similar a couple weeks ago, but it seems that they've gotten some criticism from folks that were watching Microsoft's 2020 Inside Xbox event, saying that it wasn't truly a gameplay experience that they're shown. So we'll see if Sony actually corrects that and avoids that type of criticism. I'm curious to see, like, what is that. I don't know, that signature game that Sony will unveil and to really show off the power of the PS5. With Microsoft, that it was Assassin's Creed Valhalla. What will it be for the PS5? Will it be Cyberpunk 2077? Will it be The Last of Us, as you mentioned? A little bit more details behind that. I mean, could it be the next GTA? Which, although I think that's going to be delayed, that won't be for a few more years. But there's this is we're inching closer to actually seeing more and more about the PS5. And as you mentioned, with the backwards compatibility for PS5. Now, this comes on the heels of Microsoft issuing a blog post earlier this week saying they are going to have, with the Xbox Series X, they're going to have thousands of games that will be backwards compatible. So on the Xbox Series X, you'll be able to play games from the Xbox One and all the predecessors from that on the newest game console. I'd like to assume that for the PS5, you'll have that same type of mentality, similar to with the PS4 and beyond. But I wonder though. With the Greg, remember with Microsoft event, they had this event. I think it was Smart Install or something like that, right? Within Microsoft Series X. I wonder if Sony will implement something similar for the PS4, or I'm sorry, for the PS5, because that'll be, I think that makes it interesting. I mean, it won't be, pioneering for Sony, but it'll be certainly helpful in terms of improving that beyond just added graphics, processors, speed and those type of things.
Ray tracing, all of that stuff. Yeah, I mean, I will just one thing that you did mention, the Valhalla thing. As an Assassin's Creed fan, you know that I am. I was not happy with that because that was not game footage. That was the cinema stuff. I want to see the actual game footage, but maybe that's what Sony will show. Maybe they'll actually show the real game footage and one up Xbox. We'll have to see. I know you want to see GTA 6, but all right. There it is. We've got a podcast as well. I want to remind everybody that to hit subscribe to the audio version of this show. Wherever you get podcasts, go find Tech Briefs. Every week, Ken and I will bring you up to date with some of the big stories out of tech. And there's always a lot to cover, so we just highlight a few of them, give you a little bit of knowledge going into the weekend, and then next week we'll bring you up to date with whatever we know at that point, because who knows, a week from now, everything could change. But Ken, always good to see you. I will talk to you next week with another episode.
Stay safe. See you next week.